Hey guys, in this month's Disney Rewind, I'm going to be talking about the TV series Goosebumps. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on the TV series version of Goosebumps, a quick disclaimer. I'm going to do my best not to have any sort of spoilers in this video, but that being said, if you have seen this series and you want to talk about spoilery things, definitely feel free to do so down in the comments below. So yeah, the TV series Goosebumps aired a pretty long time, several months ago, you guys. There's just been so many things that have been popping up on Disney Plus, and I've been wanting to do like videos here on this, this Disney Rewind series of videos that I do. So yeah, Goosebumps aired or finished airing several months back. So yeah, this video kind of late, but you know what? Oh well. It gives everybody plenty of time to catch up on the show, I guess. So yeah, my history with Goosebumps. I was a 90s child, a child of the 90s, okay? Goosebumps was everything. Like when I was in elementary school, it was so cool if you had Goosebumps, and we would all sit and talk about the latest Goosebumps book and whatnot. So it's like you had to be a cool kid and get the Goosebumps books. Yeah, the Goosebumps books that were written by R.L. Stine back in the day. They were classics for us 90s kids. I didn't read every single Goosebumps book. I think I was looking at my personal collection because I still own all of my Goosebumps books, you guys. I think I got a good 40 some books, and yeah, I think it went up into like the 60s or 70s or 80s or something like that. But yeah, I have a good 40 or so books, kind of just ranging from start to finish of the entire series and whatnot. And yeah, also me being a child of the 90s, I did watch the classic Goosebumps series that aired back then. And the thing about that series back in the 90s, that particular series, it literally adapted each individual book. And I love that. It was so cool to see my favorite Goosebump books come to life, my favorite characters and whatnot. So yeah, skip ahead almost 30 some years or so, give or take. It makes me feel super old, you guys. And so yeah, now here, Disney Plus, we have a 10 episode Goosebumps series, a new Goosebumps series, you guys. The thing is, this new adaptation does not take a literal approach to telling the stories. It has much more of an overall season arc, if you will. And yeah, before I forget, I did watch the Goosebump movies. I forgot to mention that as well. I have seen the two Goosebump movies that starred Jack Black, and yeah, the series is of no relation to like those movies, to my understanding. This new series is definitely its own thing. So yeah, what is the new Goosebumps series about if you have not seen it? Like I said, this is going to be a non-spoilery review. The new Goosebumps series, we find out like 30 some years ago, there was a teenage boy, and he tragically died in a mysterious house fire. It was all very mysterious. So skip ahead 30 some years or so, and we're following a group of 5 teenagers, and kind of through circumstance and a chain of events and whatnot, they find out about this boy 30 years prior who died in this mysterious house fire, and they start to put pieces of the puzzle together, and they start to realize, wait a minute, I think our parents had something to do with this boy's death. What happened? So we get the start of kind of this generational story, if you will, that dates back 30 some years, and we get little random flashbacks of all of these kids in the current today. We get kind of various flashbacks with their parents, what happened like 30 some years ago, and what their specific involvement was. So, like I said, the classic 90s series took a more literal approach to telling the R.L. Stine books. And this new series is definitely taken more of like, we're going to have like an overall season arc, and we're going to follow the exact same characters and this one particular plot point, with the mystery of this boy who died in a mysterious fire 30 some years ago. So that being said, though, the episode titles, if you have read the Goosebumps books by R.L. Stine, the episode titles are definitely taken from the books. So in episode 1, the 5 teenagers, they all go to this abandoned house that they think is abandoned, but yeah, this happens to also be the same house where the boy 30 some years ago, where he mysteriously died, and it's been like remodeled and updated and whatnot, so it's not like a ruined wreck at this point. But yeah, our teenagers go to this Halloween party once again, thinking the house is abandoned, but little do they know that their brand new English teacher, played by Justin Long, little do they know that he is actually coming to the inheritance of this house. So yeah, at the Halloween party, this happens all in the very first episode. They do get the shock of their life that yeah, this is their English teacher's house and they shouldn't be at this party. But yeah, before their party gets crashed by their English teacher, one of our characters, he heads down into like the basement, and he finds like haunted artifacts is the best way to describe it. And this is where you get classic Goosebumps. He finds a mysterious camera, and the episode then takes its title from Say Cheese and Die, which I loved. And yeah, this camera, you take photos of it, and instead of just taking what it's literally seeing, it takes photos of the future, you guys. And it's not a good thing, because you could be dying, you could be in peril, something bad is going to happen to you. Whatever this camera is doing, it's telling you the future. So yeah, that's kind of what happens in the very first episode. This boy has to kind of prevent some of these things from happening because he's seeing the future through what this camera is giving him. So yeah, we have this haunted camera in the very first episode, and then yeah, as we go through some of the later episodes, we have an episode that takes its title from The Haunted Mask. And yeah, that episode, a mask that is haunted, and the girl puts it on, she can't take the mask off, and it makes her turn into a terrible person. So yeah, that's another book right there. And then yeah, there's an episode called The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and it's about this haunted or mysterious cuckoo clock. Yeah, another episode, Go Eat Worms. This boy collects these worms in one of the episodes, and that ends up being a mistake right there with the worms. So yeah, you get my drift. Many of the first half episodes in this show, once again, not taking a literal adaptation approach to telling the Goosebumps books, but definitely taking inspiration from them and kind of sort of telling it in a way, but yeah, definitely doing its own thing and how it relates to the overall arc involving the mysterious death of the boy from 30 years prior and whatnot. Hopefully all this is making sense. So yeah, how did I feel about the show? I liked this first season. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, it was great, I freaking loved it, I did still really enjoy it, and once again, me being a child of the 90s, I still had a lot of fun with it. It was very nostalgic. The show is following a bunch of teenagers, high schoolers. I am definitely, most certainly not a teenager or a high schooler. So yeah, it's like things going on in this. It's like, oh, it's so tropey and kind of a little irritating and frustrating. But at the same time, I went to high school. I can relate, So yeah, kind of be warned for that. There are certain things that are tropey and kind of cliche. But I don't think ever to the point that it's like overly eye-roll inducing, if that makes any sort of sense. I don't think it's ever cringy. And I think for the most part, I think the acting was really good. I was deathly terrified going into this. I was like, oh lord, it's going to be a bunch of teenagers who cannot act. But I think for the most part, they were all very, very convincing. And for starters, I don't think they were teenagers. I think I went to go look up all their birth dates, and I don't think a single one of them are actually teenagers. I think they're more like in their early 20s to mid 20s, something like that. So yeah, overall, the show was a good time, a fun time. It definitely takes a few little unique twists and turns in there that you may or may not be expecting. I certainly wasn't expecting. It is 10 episodes long. The first 8 episodes are literally telling kind of a certain specific story. And then when episode 8 does end, I almost thought that was actually the season cliffhanger. And I was like, wait a minute, I think there's supposed to be 10 episodes this season. I think there's still supposed to be 2 more episodes. So yeah, when you conclude episode 8, you are concluding pretty much the whole entire front half of the show, and then the final 2 episodes are kind of doing their own thing. That's kind of where some of the little twists and turns come into play. And the final 2 episodes are almost kind of very different in mood and tone and vibe compared to the first 8 episodes, which was kind of weird. And yeah, you have kind of different antagonists there. You have a different antagonist for the first 8, and then you have a different antagonist for like the final 2 and whatnot. So yeah, I don't think I really have too much else to say about the show. What am I missing? I guess CGI. CGI was fine. I think the episode with the worms. uh, God, what episode was that? Number 4 or something like that. Whatever the worm episode was, that was perhaps, even though I liked the overall story of that particular episode, I think the CGI effects were pretty bad in that one. Like very noticeable compared to like other episodes, you know, that were, I think, far more practical with their effects and how they were incorporating like the magical haunted items and whatnot. So yeah, the worm episode was the most questionable. But yeah, overall, the show was fine. I liked it. The first season definitely ends in a cliffhanger for sure. What show, seriously, what show nowadays does not end in a cliffhanger? It's a little frustrating. So if the show was received well on Disney Plus, which I'm not sure, hopefully it gets a second season. Like I said, this review that I'm doing, the show is, I watched it fairly long ago, so maybe news of a renewal has happened in the meantime. I don't know. So yeah, I'm definitely curious, you guys, did any of you happen to watch the Disney Plus version of Goosebumps? How'd you feel with it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? If you hated it, that's okay. Are you anticipating a new season? Were you a child of the 90s like me? Was this nostalgic? I found it a wee bit nostalgic. So yeah, I guess that's it. Overall, a thumbs up for Goosebumps, I guess. So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on Goosebumps. Like I said, let me know down in the comments below how you felt about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.